feel the pain of Columbus Day, but I recognize everything is Min Hashamayim. Very interesting little happenstance here. Here I'm making a video about Columbus Day. Yesterday, after work, I went to the city to sign a marriage license. I negotiated a price. I asked a pretty high price. We were like, well, but it's just signing papers. I was like, yeah, but I have to schlep all the way to the city, back and forth. Whatever the price wasn't so high, wasn't so low. It's lower than a usual price for a marriage license, and I've been doing a lot fewer weddings than I have. So anyway, I have cash, and I was like, oh, now I'll have cash for the whole week. Interestingly, it's known that it's a segula for Parnasa to eat egg salad on Shabbos by lunch, by the day meal. And in our house, we keep the hard-boiled eggs in a separate container, so we can make the egg salad for Shabbos, or any other time we want to make hard-boiled eggs. Want to have a hard-boiled egg, So there's one egg left. I go there, hoping it's not cooked, and my wife said she thought there was a hard-boiled egg there, and because she saw there was an egg there, and my kids said, yeah, the boys were playing with the eggs, and they put an egg in there, and with that being said, here I made this money yesterday, and I spent it all in one day yesterday. And all the money I had, I spent yesterday on gas, and then my wife sends me a text. I mean, this is all Min Hashamayim. This can't, the same thing, and that's the whole lesson of Columbus, that there's providence. And even when things aren't going 100% great, but there is something good and a purpose to everything. So my wife sends me a text. I hope you send me some food news. I hope you bring home some food news, because I had a bad day, whatever. And it was a typo. She meant good news. Why? So I hope you bring home some food. Well, here, I wish I would have known, because first I went, one of my neighbors passed away, and I live in a community that's seasonal. So he lives in Jersey, and he has a summer home, a weekend home here. So I went to make a shiva call. I wanted to make a shiva call to my Rebbe, to Kalavar Rebbe, but unfortunately he's in a hospital. And then my wife calls me, and then I get lost on the way back, and my wife says, could you stop in New Square, which Mazel Tov, she's friends with a Rebbetzin, just made, and they just, their mishpacha, they just made a shidduch with Square Rebbe. Could you stop in New Square and wish a Mazel Tov to Rabbi Sekula? He's making a vort. He made a shidduch with Square Rebbe. And I don't know, it's very late to go. I want to get home already, and I want to be home by then already. Vort is calling for 7 o'clock. Probably won't start till 7:30, and I want to be home by 7. I get lost, so I wind up passing New Square just around 7 o'clock. So all right, I went, wished Mazel Tov. Went home. I get this text. I was like, if I would have known, I caught the rabbi who I wanted to see just before he went inside the Simcha Hall, just to wish Mazel Tov. And he wished me a Mazel Tov because I finished Shas. But then I go back, I go home. If I would have known, I would have eaten at the fort. I have to bring home food. All right, I'll stop in Monticello at this place at ShopRite, buy some food. It's like, we eat a lot of food. I wind up spending all the cash I have. I was like, it's no big deal. We have money in the bank. Then I realized when my wife lost the debit card, she said she probably left it at the grocery store by the Visions community. We can't find it, but whatever. It's not a big deal. My wife says, because here we have some checks at home. You can put a check in the other account, which we were going to do anyway, and she'll take the card, and if we put the check in the account today, and if I go inside the bank, not just the ATM, they'll put it in right away. Here I am making a video, the last video I made, about Columbus Day, and I forget that it's Columbus Day. I drive all the way to Liberty to go to the bank, and the bank is closed for Columbus Day. I'm working today, but I'm working a late shift. But that's the story. So anyway, that's what anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Jewish history of Columbus Day. I don't know if I said in the last video, I do feel a certain connection to Columbus Day because I have Italian heritage. But more is Columbus's Jewish heritage, and also the Jewish heritage of many of his sailors. What I heard was the first member of his crew to set foot on land. They never set foot on the North American continent. They were all in the Caribbean islands. Was Jewish. Columbus himself, they say, came from a family of B'nai Anusim. And he still, they say that, he still made reference to certain Kabbalistic ideas, even though he was certainly a Christian, Catholic in his faith, but he still had certain influence from the Jewish tradition in his writings and so forth, and in his ideology, and even to a certain extent in his theology. So I really want to destroy that sign that says "Fire Faso." Faso's such a mensch. He's such a good man. How could anyone want to they want to replace him with a misogynistic rapper? Like, I don't understand what's going on with the Democrats. It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, back to Columbus Day. But more than that, we know that when God closed a door, He opened the window, or maybe closed the window and opened the door, really, because 1492, the very same Ferdinand and Isabella who are villains in the Jewish history, that was the exact same year that they expelled the Jews from Spain. But it's their loss. The exact same time is when Columbus discovered America, which is a flourishing place, the next Gauls after Europe. Who knows what the next one will be? China, maybe? India? Who knows? But we shouldn't assume just because the Zionists conquered the Holy Land that somehow means that the Messiah has to come now. It most certainly means that He won't come. That's what the Gemara says in Sanhedrin. In Ben David Bach, Tichl Malchus Azulis Misrael. And Al Pi Kabbalah, we're supposed to be Milan the Tzaitzis. We're supposed to be picking up the sparks and fixing the world. We're not supposed to be cooping ourselves up just into a little one little country. Well, all this being said, so here we are. so that there's the connection though between Columbus and the Jewish community. Do have a lot more to say, but that's just the situation that we're in, that we're discussing right now. But so certainly there is a real connection between Columbus Day and the Jewish community. So these are things that we should remember, and but also first and foremost remember the divine providence that's involved all throughout American history. That's our job. We got to remember history, because it's really a lesson in faith. All right, thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling well today, so I'm not talking so normally. All right, thank you.